Hi, and welcome back to my podcast, my second episode of Zowie Dawn At Dusk. To everyone that watched a little bit, watched all of it, or anyone that commented on it and just supported in any way, thank you. It makes my heart feel very full. It makes me feel very loved. I appreciate everyone that took out of the time to even click the link that I posted, so thank you. This week, I've been doing a lot of self-reflecting about how I spend my time, like my free time, and just how I go about my day-to-day life. And I've noticed I want to establish some better habits and routines. I feel like I'm always so go, 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 and I don't really take the time to, I make sure I get things done every day for the most part, but it's not done in a particular order, and it affects my sleep, or it just affects different aspects of my life. Like right now, I work at 4 in the morning, and it is 11 p.m. at night, and I'm filming this. Again, I get it done, but I don't have the best system for how to get everything done. So I thought that this week it would be a really good idea for me to talk about habits and routines. It's a very broad topic overall, and I feel like it's good to kind of break it down into chunks to kind of get the full idea and connect it all together at the end. I think it'll be a great idea to start talking about habits first. The Google definition of habits is a settled or regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. There are good and bad habits. Obviously, for every person, it's going to be different. Their really good habits are going to be different compared to someone else, even their goals of their really good habits. And everyone's going to have kind of different in-betweens and different really bad habits. So I think it's better to get into the idea of talking about how good and bad habits are made. Good habits are made, I think the biggest one is motivation. Just having that motivation to show up for yourself, show out for yourself every single day. And kind of going hand in hand with that, I do think that the people you surround yourself with influence that a lot. It's always a good idea to be around people that are doing better than you constantly, just because it encourages you to do better and want to be better. So when you are trying to make these good habits and you're surrounded with these people that are already doing those habits or even doing completely different ones, it is really good to be around that, so that way you just feel more motivated and you have a better support system. Because I think that, again, having that good support system means that people support you and want the best for you. Just like you want people doing better than you, they also want you to be doing better than them if they're a good friend. So just having both of those hand in hand is the biggest thing to forming good habits. Obviously, consistency. Again, showing up for yourself every day, and just, you could do anything for 10 seconds. So just doing that and just getting up and starting it. Setting a timer for 5 minutes. When I used to have a really, really hard time, obviously in high school, keeping my room clean. So I would set a 5-minute timer and just clean for 5 minutes. But that 5 minutes turned into, I already did this corner, might as well start this corner. But just by taking those small steps of that 5 minutes every day really did make an impact on that goal of mine at the time. That was a really big game changer for me. And again, starting small, having those goals, obviously I wanted to have a better, obviously I wanted to have a cleaner room and just a better environment. But instead of my goal being, I want my room spotless every single day, no, my goal was to clean my room for 5 minutes every day. And again, that turned into something much bigger, and it was a really good way to start because I didn't feel angry at myself when I really could only do 5 minutes that day. I was like, hey, I did my 5 minutes and I'll do my 5 minutes again tomorrow. As well as having the patience with yourself, again, like having these, like the smaller goals and allowing yourself to only do the goal you gave and still feel good about it. But as well as understand if you had a really hard day and you just don't want to spend that 5 minutes, but you'll spend 5 or even 10 tomorrow, just having that patience with yourself is huge. And like I said, habits and routines play hand in hand. So just establishing this routine overall is going to slowly turn into a habit, and you'll do it without really thinking twice about it. I think some bigger ones that aren't talked about a lot are reflecting, kind of sitting down with yourself and being like, why do I want this goal? Like, why is it important to me? As well as, what are the triggers? Why can't I achieve this goal? Why is this a struggle for me? And being self-aware of what caused it and what's keeping you from doing it. And lastly, going into that is making sure you're still rewarding yourself. I'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end, but again, just making sure that you're showing up for yourself. You did a really good job this week, and I'm proud of you. You're allowed to be proud of yourself for small goals like cleaning your room for 5 minutes. Because those goals, small goals, are slowly going to turn into bigger and bigger. Bouncing off of that, bad habits are the biggest factor for bad habits being made is, I believe, your environment. Obviously, it's different in your household. Again, the people you surround yourself with, a lot of bad habits are formed just by being in a very bad environment, and you pick up these tendencies, whether it's your family house or just a bad partner at the time. That's how a lot of bad habits are made. Going into that, stress and boredom, again, if you're stressed out in your environment or you're bored, you're going to start overeating, you're going to start oversleeping, you're going to start just being lazy and not picking up your room and all these other factors. As well as even if you're in the best environment but you're just bored, again, you're still going to eat, you're still going to sleep, you're still going to do other bad habits that aren't the best for you. And again, everything in moderation. Just because you binge ate one day or just wanted to sleep all day one day, that's okay in moderation. But once you're starting to do it every single day, that's when it's becoming a problem. And the lack of discipline around you, like again, your support system and yourself, if you aren't going to show up for yourself, no one is going to show up for you. They might for a while, but they're not going to stick around until you start showing up for yourself and making sure that you're holding yourself accountable. Again, everyone has their bad days, everyone has their lazy days, but if you're allowing yourself to have constant lazy days and constant bad days, you're just not going to achieve where you want to be and what you want to do. And you're going to have it's expected to not do bad, but fail. It's expected to fail. You could do really, really good for, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks, and you're about to hit a month, and you have a really shitty week. That's okay, because after your shitty week, you're going to make sure that you continue to try harder the next week and not give up on yourself that next week. Again, bouncing off of the people around you, just not in your relationships, families, and significant others, as well as friends. If your friends around you just have really bad habits and they're constantly going out and drinking and they're constantly just binge eating and they have no goals or ambitions, if you're around people like that, you're going to get comfortable and you're going to be like, oh, well, why do I have to do this? Like, they seem happy, like, I'm good. And again, that may be good for you and that's okay, but if you want to do better, you need to make sure that the people around you are supporting you and not causing these bad habits that you're making. Not saying that if your friend drinks a lot to not talk to them and cut them off, but saying distance yourself, know your limits, and just know that it's okay to distance yourself for personal reasons. It's not selfish. It's what you need to do sometimes to ensure that these bad habits aren't being made. Lastly, a big factor for bad habits is just overall the feel-good hormone in your brain. Obviously, when you get quick dopamine like nicotine, weed, alcohol, being on your phone and having access to all these bright, colorful videos, just a little bit of everything, it's gonna cause this to feel good, and it's easy and it's quick. So you're gonna keep doing it. You're gonna keep eating. You're gonna keep watching TikToks. You're gonna keep doing all this because it feels good. Again, that doesn't mean that they're good habits. Again, it's okay to do it. I'm not saying that you can't watch TikTok for an hour, you can't do this. But when you're constantly doing that, that's how it's going, because your brain's like, again, this is quick, this is easy, this feels good. The biggest way to keep and to stop, it's the same exact thing, just look at it in a different light. To keep and to stop habits, good and bad, is to, again, sitting down with a piece of paper and identifying your triggers and why you're doing what you're doing. Again, if drinking's a big one for you to stop and all of your friends around you drink and that's a trigger for you to be around that all the time, maybe take a step back and reevaluate your friends. And that doesn't mean that you don't love them, but it means I need to do this for me, and if they can't understand that, they're not your friends. But just a little bit with everything. Like, a big thing for me when I was going back to school was I'd pick up my phone to respond to a text message and I'd scroll on TikTok for hours. And I sat with myself and I'm like, this is why my homework's taking 2 to 3 times as long as it should be, is because I keep going on my phone. I found this hack where you can turn your entire phone screen black and white, and it's boring and it sounds so stupid, but it worked for me. It might not work for you, but it worked for me. So now whenever I go to do my homework, I turn my black and white screen on and I'll try to go on TikTok and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, it's not fun, it's not bright, it's just not there. It's not hitting the same way it does. So I exit out, and it really, really helps me. Again, as having that support system, and again, to stop and keep, to make your friends keep motivating you, like, let's keep going to the gym, let's keep going, or to be like, hey, you've been drinking a lot, I think we should just go get some dinner tonight instead of going out. Having that support and having you believing in yourself and having people around you that believe in you is, again, one of the biggest factors for this. And I understand that sometimes you feel like there's no support from other people. That's when you need to support yourself the hardest. And just know that, again, you're going to have to be patient with yourself. It's going to take time, but know that you're able to do it. And then obviously, again, rewarding yourself and allowing yourself to feel good for doing good and for stopping. If you've been drinking a lot, obviously there's different situations with this, and sometimes you just can't do it anymore. This is just an example. But if you've been drinking a lot and you slowed it down, but then after not drinking for the whole month, you're like, I want to go out and have a good time. You can do that, and that's a good way of rewarding yourself and knowing that it's still there and it's still fun. You just can't do it 2 to 3 times a week. And there's obviously other ways to reward yourself. And again, I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But the biggest 3 things is identifying your triggers, getting support and supporting yourself, and rewarding yourself. So just to kind of wrap the habits portion up, some of my good habits currently is I am really good at drinking water. I drink 1 to 2 gallons of water a day. If anything, I probably overdrink on water. But I know that I'm drinking it and I'm getting it. As well as that is I'm really good at taking my vitamins every morning. Last year I was sick the entire year. So I just don't want to be like that again. So I take my vitamins. I take emergency C, I take fish oil, multivitamins, etc. And I feel a lot better. I get sick a lot less. I'm a little sick today, but I'm not dying sick like I normally would be. Another really good habit I have is gratitude. I'm very good at being thankful for the opportunities around me, the people around me, and just waking up in the morning. I used to be a very negative person, so again, this is something that I kind of changed. I like to think that I'm very grateful and usually in a very good mood. I'm really good at noticing the small things and being mindful. Again, something that I was really big on is I would do homework and watch TV and paint my nails at the same time. And nothing ever got done. I was always overwhelmed and anxious because my brain was just always like rattling with stuff inside. And it was so overwhelming and exhausting. But now I'm able to focus on just my homework. Again, I turn my phone on black and white. I put on music to kind of feel the energy of the homework I'm doing, and it helps me a lot. And I'm a lot more mindful when I paint my nails. I just paint my nails and it feels a lot better. Another habit I'm really good at maintaining right now is exercising regularly. It's not something that I am still not near my end goal with it, but I am very good at just getting in there at least 3 times a week, at least. And then also not being mad at myself, because I used to get very mad at myself, and then I'd crash out from this side or this side. I would either just go really hard at the gym and hurt myself. I wouldn't eat for days. I wouldn't sleep. I would just constantly go and think about that to where my day was shit because I didn't go to the gym, and I would constantly just think about the way that I looked and all of this. Or fuck it, it's Tuesday, I already ruined my week. I'm going to binge eat. I'm going to not work out for the rest of the week. I'm going to be lazy. I'm not going to do anything. It'd be one or the other. And I feel like now I'm really good at being like, hey, I didn't go to the gym, but I probably don't need 2 cookies today. But also allowing myself, if I'm craving it, I'll let myself have it, but I won't, I'm really good at limiting myself now. And even on the days that I binge eat, it's nothing to what I used to do before. And again, it's those small steps and being patient, supporting yourself. So yes, I'm not where I want to be, but I still think one of my good habits is exercising regularly. And then some of my bad habits right now, I think I'll do least dramatic to most dramatic. Probably my phone usage. I do use my phone a lot. Again, not where I used to be, but still a lot. I go to TikTok for at least 2 to 3 hours a day, and I always feel like shit afterwards because I see all these just people living their best life, and it's really hard to see that all the time, to see everyone live their best moments but make it seem like it's just a normal Monday. Keeping myself busy has really helped, but now it's interfering with other things in my life that I should be doing instead. I think my second worst one is rushing. I'm always in a rush everywhere I go, in the mornings especially. I don't really take the time. I always forget something, and then I just have the worst day because I forgot to take my vitamins, or I forgot to grab my water bottle or my lunch. I'm always in a rush. I couldn't let my car warm up, and so I have snow all over my car trying to get it off by rolling around the windows driving on the highway. And I'm fucking freezing and cranky, and I just am cranky for the rest of the day. I think probably my third worst habit is overspending. I don't know if you can kind of see if you're watching. I just have so much shit. And I think I'm I forget what the word is, consumer. I guess, yeah, consumer at its finest. I'm very easily influenced from TikTok. Again, why I'm trying to spend less time on my phone. It's the buy 3, get 1 free. And I'm like, oh, but it's a free one. And it's like, no, you weren't planning on spending for the first 3 anyway. I will have my really good moments, but this is something I bounce back with really hard. I won't spend for weeks, and then all of a sudden my whole room's redone again. I think my worst habit is my sleep. I mentioned it earlier. I am on probably only going to sleep 3 hours tonight. I slept 4 hours last night, but I slept like 12 hours the night before. I'm really bad at allowing myself to sleep, but also having the time management to sleep. I'm not choosing to stay up crazy late tonight. I made this commitment to myself to post a podcast every Sunday, and I had a shit ton of homework due tonight that I forgot about, but I got it all done. But now I'm not going to sleep, and I still have to do other things after this. And it's just definitely something that is very hard for me. And again, on my days off, when I could be getting my homework done and could be doing all of this stuff, to make the days that I have to get up at 3 a.m. a lot easier, I oversleep because I'm exhausted and I don't have a consistent sleep schedule. And I think this is the biggest one that I'm trying to break. And it kind of goes hand in hand with everything. It goes hand in hand with rushing in the morning because I'm exhausted. So I oversleep. And then I'm in a rush to not be late to work, as well as my phone usage. I'm just so tired, but I know I can't go to sleep because I'm supposed to stay up. So I just mindlessly scroll to make time go by, which makes other things like, again, my homework, just hobbies I could be doing, all of these things not happen. And I also do think that plays a role in my overspending, just because when you're tired, you do a lot of stupid shit. I can't tell you how many times I've been half asleep and then I order stuff on Amazon. Before I can cancel it the next morning, it's already here. I've gotten like 2 pairs of headphones that way. I can't tell you how many times that has happened. Anyway, I think that's enough about my habits and just habits overall. Let's jump into routines. The Google definition of a routine is a sequence of actions regularly followed. I think that routines are detrimental to your goals and ambitions. I feel, again, routines are kind of where it starts, and then habits is where it leads to. Habits are things you do a lot less consciously versus routines are things you do have to think about and be like, oh fuck, like I do gotta go to the gym today, rather than just driving to the gym after work and be like, oh, I'm already here. So I think routines is the first step. And I think routines is the first step. And again, they can be very big steps and very little steps. But as long as you're identifying what needs to be done and just where you want to be, it doesn't matter how big the step is. Anyway, a little off topic. Routines are formed in a lot of different ways. I think the biggest way to start a routine is to focus on one. You can't change your entire life overnight. You can't wake up early and go to the gym and eat healthy and not use your phone, all of these things overnight. You can try, but you're going to burn out and again, crash harder. Or go the other extreme and hurt yourself trying to keep up. So starting with the most important goal, again, mine right now, is getting into a better sleep routine. Just because I think it's going to drastically change other ways in my life, and I feel like it's a really good way to start to keep up with my other goals. As well as, again, having that discipline and support for yourself and for the people around you. If the people around you aren't supporting you and aren't being like, hey, you're fucking up, reevaluate. If you aren't doing that for yourself, why not? Again, you are going to always be your biggest supporter. I know I talked about how habits are formed. The best way to start a habit is to kind of go in the journal and just identify triggers, etc. But again, routines are formed by tracking your progress and being like, my goal again is to go to the gym 3 times a week. I went 3 times this week, 3 times last week, 2 times this week. And I'll probably go 4 next week. Again, it's just about kind of being like, I'm overall doing better and I'm constantly doing better. Again, you're going to have your shit weeks, you're going to have your shit days, your shit months. But as long as you kind of snap back and are noticing that you're doing better. Again, the gym, there's times I don't go for a week or 2, but again, before I wouldn't go for the rest of the month versus now I'm just like, it's just been busy. I'll go on a Friday and even though that's the only day of the week because it's the day I can go. Like I said, they're very similar. So again, it's rewarding yourself, allowing yourself to feel good about what you did and to kind of have a treat. Like you don't need to cut off all of these bad habits. Don't get me wrong, there are some really bad habits. But again, overspending, you're doing it too much. You can still go shopping. You just can't spend all this money all the time. And I think the biggest one I didn't talk about with habits is expecting to fail. Don't think that you're going to go into this and go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week. Again, I think starting with 3 is a really good one. Just a good example. Again, you don't have to go to the gym. This is just, again, what I did. But I started with 3 days and I felt good about it because I could do it. But I also knew that I wouldn't do it all the time. Again, I don't go for a week or 2 sometimes. And just expecting to not hit that 3 every week. So that way I don't crash and be like, fuck this. I'm going to overdo it or I'm going to just not do shit for the rest of the year. Because it's, again, the old me, it is November 17th today. I would have just gave up. I'll try next year. But no, I'm not because I did really good this year and I'm going to keep doing really good. There are a lot of different types of routines. Again, these are just some examples. There's so many more. The most common ones are morning and night routines. Some other ones in between are after work routines, gym routine, weekend routines, again, etc. I've already talked about this, but I don't have the strongest routines as of now. I work at 4 a.m. on Mondays, and it really throws off my entire routine because I work 9 to 5 at my other job. So it's just really hard to stay consistent because, again, I think sleep is such a big one. So the fact that I'm not sleeping, it really does play hand in hand with just everything else that I'm doing in my day-to-day life. I think I want to be able to develop some more routines. I want to develop a morning, night, and after work routine. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but these are some of my personal goals for my morning routines. I really want to, again, since I start going to work at 4 a.m. on Mondays, I really want to start going to the gym and getting my schoolwork done before I go to my 9 to 5. Just so that I can stay consistent with my sleep schedule and working the one doesn't throw me off. So I'm up anyway, I'm out doing all this anyway. And it's first thing in the morning, I get it all done, I go to work, and then I kind of just relax and have fun, do my hobbies, all this stuff, just because it's affecting a lot of other things. I want to try it in the mornings. So yeah, I want to be able to go to the gym, do my schoolwork, make my bed, do my skincare, get ready for work, go to work. after my work, I want to be able to just make sure that everything's clean, prep for the next day, my clothes, my food, water bottle, make sure my keys are out, all of that. And then my night routine, I want to be able to feed my animals, do skincare, hair care, just kind of get ready for bed and relax and meditate or read and just have a lot more of a consistent schedule so that way I'm not up almost at midnight on Sunday when I work at 4 a.m. Getting back on track, I mentioned a little bit earlier, but habits and routines correlate because habits have a little thought process to them, whereas routines require a lot more effort and time to become habits. So routines are overall the step before habits. I know I talk about discipline and rewards a little bit later. It's later. But I think the biggest ways to discipline yourself are to write out your goals, to visualize them and realize, oh, I'm fucking up, or I could be doing this better. And just knowing your weaknesses. Again, we talked about a little bit earlier about if you have a hard time drinking too much, not being around people that party every weekend, and maybe just not going to the bakery section of the grocery store. And again, everyone is different. And I think another big thing to discipline yourself, again, is to have others keep you accountable. Kind of have your friends be like, hey, what the fuck? Like, why? Like, what's going on with you? Why haven't you left your house in days? Why are you just kind of like on your couch rotting? And things I kind of mentioned, but bouncing off that really fast, being mindful of your urges. And just to kind of notice like, oh, this is a kind of like a trigger, I guess you could say, for me, or this makes me want to drink, this makes me want to eat, this makes me want to sleep. And again, you should be able to reward yourself and sometimes be like, I deserve it. But having that to be like, I don't need that. It's a Monday, But I think some of the things I didn't really talk about is forgiving yourself. You need to be disciplined, but you need to be able to forgive yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to go anywhere. If you try doing something and you fail, but you don't forgive yourself, you're not going to do it again. You're going to give up, and it's going to be this endless cycle versus of actually getting better and doing better. Again, it's a slow process, and you need to be able to forgive yourself for that. And as well as just having a backup plan, I think, is a big thing. Again, like I was saying, like I keep bringing up the gym, but if you want to go for 3 days a week, but something happened and you only went 2, I'm going to go 4 next week. Disciplining yourself, holding yourself accountable to get overall days. Again, it's not always going to happen, but if you have the time and if you did it for a reason that's not genuine, discipline yourself. Do better, show up for yourself. And then I think rewarding yourself is just things you love. Again, this is an individual thing. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to reward yourself. Some ways I tend to reward myself personally is I get myself flowers. I get myself plants. They make me feel good and they're overall pretty cheap. So I tend to get myself flowers. I will have a nice night out with my friends or with my boyfriend and just kind of enjoy myself, because that is a big way to just make me feel good. Again, going out to dinner, just going out to get some drinks, other things. I usually let myself buy things that are related to my goal. When I first started going to the gym, I would let myself get new workout clothes or just other little things in between when I lost a certain amount of weight, and it really did work. But then again, it turned into I bought myself the things anyway, but for a while they really, really did work for me. And lastly, another way I like to reward myself, really super quick and easy, is just a bubble bath. I love water, and again, I live in Colorado, so especially in the winter, it's really hard to be around water. But in the winter, I like to make sure I'm taking like bubble baths and just relaxing and being in water still. Developing new habits and routines is going to be a challenge. It's going to kind of be a slap in the face because you're going to have to do a lot of self-reflecting. You're going to feel like shit. You're going to feel like good. You're going to have your good days, your bad days. You're going to feel like there's no progress. And then you're going to look back a year later and be like, holy shit, like I'm completely different. It is important to listen to yourself, to not burn out. But again, it's important to discipline yourself and again, show up for yourself. Be better for yourself in order to get the outcome that you truly want. Anyway, thank you all so much for, again, listening to another podcast of Zowie Dawn at Dusk. I will see you all next Sunday night.